Let's talk about why I'm ranting and raving on podcasts and why I'm getting excited and trying to draw in an audience to make offers to them as a function of my business. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. If you're a marketer, copywriter, if you are in the business development world, getting out and reaching buyers in the marketplace is more critical than ever. There are so many distractions, so much content, and you would think that adding more content to this mess is actually not good for anybody. The key is we want to have value delivered in the marketplace that does two specific things. So first off, we got to understand that there's more and more content out there and our prospects are confused. Our prospects don't know where to turn. They're looking for answers. So we need content that answers their most important and critical questions. Now, that's only part of the answer. The second part is we want to answer critical questions that lead to a sale. Now, I'm being legitimate here. I'm being very transparent. There's no value in me doing podcasts or recording content if I'm not going to generate leads or generate clients who have money to spend on the types of solutions that I can deliver. I am literally standing in my basement, holding a cell phone up here, talking to the program, saying these things from an outline. And the only reason I would do that, other than all the other things that I have available for me to do, is because we want to generate leads and serve client interests. Now, your clients are going to come and go. You may have a good portfolio of clients today, but over the course of a year, you're going to lose about 20% of them. If you've got 5 clients, you're going to lose 1 client. If you've got 100 clients, you're going to lose 20 of them. And the reason why is because their interests are changing just as fast as the rest of the world around us. Many of them get distracted. Some of them find other vendors. Some of them even go out of business and don't have the money to pay you. That has nothing to do with you. That has nothing to do with the service you could have provided. And these are things we cannot control. So by focusing on the 10 or 20% of really good clients, people who fit your customer avatar, people who are perfect buyers in the marketplace, by focusing on content that they can consume to stay engaged with what you have to offer, you stay relevant. However, this is not about educating them. This is not about inspiring them. This is not about driving them any particular way. This is about generating leads. Because when I say, hey, if you've got any questions, ask them, such a small percentage of listeners will raise their hand and ask. And those are the people that I focus on because they are unique, they are special, they have motivation, they're going to move towards an outcome. So if you're a copywriter or a marketer, we're creating content and our clients will pay us to create content, but what kind of content are you creating? Content that generates leads is content that's going to drive home results. Now, the lead is the most important person to create content for, not to entertain them, not to string them along, but to help them make a buying decision. So even there, we're segmenting into subcategories so that we can make specific offers. Now, saying all of this, you might be thinking, why would I listen to a podcast whose only purpose in life is to get me to raise my hand and tell them about my problems so that he can offer to solve those problems, and then ultimately I'd have to pay him money, but he's going to generate more money for me over the long run? Well, that's exactly why we do this. We do this because the person who raises their hand, who has a pain, who has a frustration, is going to be someone who's interested in solving a problem. If we can find a match, now personality-wise, I'm not the best person for everybody, but ultimately somebody's going to raise their hand and they're going to say, yes, I want it, what it is that you have to offer. So in your presentation, we're not offering solutions because we don't know enough about that listener in order to solve a problem in a 15-minute podcast. We don't know enough to deliver to them, but we can work with their emotions, get them excited about something like the results, for example. So in the case of doing podcasts or a newsletter or any kind of periodic media, is if you can show up and connect with the other person, if you can show up and show that you understand their situation. I write copy, I write technical documents. I transitioned from a freelance copywriter to a small agency where I now do business development work. What is business development work? Well, it's strategic planning. It's campaign management. It's writing copy for sales funnels. Is that the only thing you can do? No. I subcontract a lot of people who have specialties. In doing this, I'm able to be more stable and bring more solutions to my clients. I'm more stable in my income. I'm more stable in my opportunity, and I can start building systems where clients can plug into those systems. Now, am I perfect at doing it? No. And that's why the podcasts are very off the cuff. The podcasts are very loose because I want to show people that we can still accomplish things whether or not we're perfect. And again, I also save a shitload of money by not hiring editors and not hiring a bunch of other people to clean up my own podcast. I can focus all those resources on client work, billable work. And that's how I'm able to get 80 to 90% of my time as client billable work. Now, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because what we're talking about here of focusing on the critical path. The critical path is not being Joe Rogan, is not being a celebrity. You don't need to be Whoopi Goldberg on a television series where you get paid whether or not you say anything interesting. The key is we are building audience segments, understanding the needs and desires of those segments, relaying back their concerns and frustrations, giving them an opportunity to engage for more information or resources, delivering them incremental value so that they feel and understand that you are the right solution for them, and then they raise their hand and they move forward. Do you have to hard sell? No. Do you have to drive them to a deadline pitch? No. The podcast itself being freely available online is about someone raising their hand when they're ready. Now, if they're on my email list or they've been on my newsletter for a while or they've paid for a small service, I will offer them a similar thing, but where it's about getting them to the next level. So we want to have a system which progresses a contact from suspect to prospect to inquiry to buyer to repeat buyer. Within that element, we have certain steps that the people have to go through. Now, content, whether it's me in an audio or a video or a email newsletter or any other form, is about moving people through that journey, moving them towards their goals and objectives. Many of the freelance copywriters on this particular newsletter are looking for ways to automate what they do so that they can spend more billable time rather in less time overall. So if you're working 40 hours a week, you want to have 20, 30, even 40 hours of billable work, and then somebody in the office taking care of other things. You don't feel confident in the ability to manage other people, but you are also not sure how to streamline your workflow. So those are the things that we work on in streamlining the workflow of a podcast, and why I create so much content. And by the way, there's far more content that doesn't get published than gets published because I'm creating content for specific audiences and specific buyers. And, sometimes a client will write in with a question and it's just easier to respond in a video or an audio. But my point being is to streamline this. It really is about the workflow. I offer a free newsletter. Why do I offer a free newsletter? Because I have a paid newsletter. Why do I offer a paid newsletter? Is because I have paid consultations. Why do I offer paid consultations? Is because we have courses, coaching, and consulting. Do you see how this works? If I didn't have courses, coaching, and consulting, if I wasn't available for projects, then I wouldn't have this whole line to help the listener get what they want and to get it in a tangible form. Now, I don't want to be going through all that effort and all that content creation and all that editing. There is some editing that happens, and all that prep for a call, all that webinar, all that. I don't want to go through all that stuff if I'm just preparing somebody for someone else. This is critical. You have to understand this. If you do your marketing the wrong way, if you're just out there trying to influence, if you're out there just trying to reach people, you reach enough people, touch enough people, you're going to end up in jail. That's just inappropriate. My point being is if you do this without an offer, without giving them a way to reach out and really get involved in the detail of what you have to offer. I could go 2 days on this topic and go into details and show you how to outline a podcast or then how to use that podcast transcript to create content for your website, how to use that transcript in order to create a newsletter, and then how to create landing pages based on sales offers so that you can get somebody predisposed to buy with you over somebody else. I could do that for 2 days. But in 15 minutes, I can give you a quick summary so you know it exists, so that you know these tools are available, and so that ultimately you can move forward. You've got to do the same for your clients. Now, here's the challenge. If every copywriter and marketer is just yammering on the internet about what they can do and what they can't do and headline strategies and, how to get customers and stuff like that, and they're doing it generically, then we've added to the information overload, which adds to the frustration that these potential clients have that ultimately makes my life easier because I don't just broadcast online. I go directly to pre-qualified buyers in my marketplace. See, I've been doing this stuff since the 1990s, and I'm still in the business. Not because I'm chasing trends, not because I'm out there on the internet and exposing myself to all these different people. It's because every piece of content I create gives you the opportunity to ask questions. And when I see who asks questions for different content categories, I go out and do targeted marketing to those individuals who then raise their hand and buy products or services. Here's the bottom line, folks. I should have promised this in the beginning to keep people to hear, but this is a reward for you staying with the audio here. And it is the fact that every post, every answer in a message board, every podcast is a test. It is a contextual topic test. We talk about that in the topic testing method. And ultimately, it snowballs the level of individuals who are interested. And how do I know they're interested? It's because they asked a question. Now, questions with a lot of text in them are more engaged individuals. We can talk about this some other time, but they're more engaged individuals. There are certain types of questions that signal that they're ready to hire services. There's other types of questions that signal they're ready to get an ebook or a course or a program. But ultimately, they get on the free newsletter. And even though I highly neglect my free newsletter, folks, I do try to deliver them additional content in the form of the podcast, in the form of quick notes and tips. It really is about taking the next step. Because are you really serving your client, overwhelming them with how to do your job? Or are you serving them by helping them just simply get started today? Let's get started, solve problems, get you more clients, get you more results. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Now, you're in the right place if you want to start going from a freelance copywriter or freelance marketer into a more systematic approach for getting clients, keeping clients, and growing a business as an agency. Now, a lot of people are scared when I say as an agency, but an agency can just be 3 to 5 people, mostly part-time, those folks who are supporting you on your journey for success. And so think about it. What's your journey for success? Might it include... another reason a lot of the stuff I record never makes it to the public is because I might record something like this, transcribe it. That's my draft sales letter. If you are ready for workflow, if you're ready for approaches, if you're ready for strategic marketing, if you're ready to start growing what it is that you're doing, you're in the right place. Visit us with your questions at www.adbriefings.co.uk. When you go to that site, you're going to see a free newsletter. Join the free newsletter. You're going to see a contact page, ask your questions, and I'll be more than happy to create custom content for you in the form of my podcast because, again, it's about taking you to the next level. It's about helping you on that journey. Now, there's all kinds of marketing technicalities on the back end of how I track all this stuff because every podcast is a test. There's all kinds of workflow strategies that save me a tremendous amount of time that I'd be happy to share with you. But again, it starts with a question. It starts with a commitment. I don't care if you like and subscribe. I don't care if you even like what I'm talking about here. If it benefits you, then raise the hand and say something. If you say something, you will get results. Ask and ye shall receive. This is how it works. And again, every one of your potential clients is the same way. This is not about volume of content on the internet. There's already too much content that we've created AI devices to summarize that content. This is about finding the people who need solutions and then being the person who delivers that solution for them so that they get the results that they're looking for, so that they get the outcomes that they're demanding. And ultimately, we all win. We all win. This isn't hard selling. I'm just giving you an opportunity to solve a problem that you face. I might not know exactly what problem you have, but I know who you are and I know what challenges you have because I've been there and I've evolved past that. I want to thank you for being a part of this podcast. I want to thank you for what we're doing here. But thank yourself when you take action. Thank yourself when you get results. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and I'll see you in the next podcast.